The story of the challenges that you've had over the last nearly 2 years now. But how have you learned to deal with, for example, walking on the legs that you've now been given? Because you walk around as if it's the most natural thing in the world for you to do.
Yeah, it's been a long journey for me, the whole walking on prosthetics and stuff like that. Like I say, it's nearly 2 years ago now since the accident, and each day I'm getting better and better at walking and like doing stairs and stuff like that, but it is a long process. It's, as a racing driver, I want to do everything at about 100 miles an hour.
Of course, yeah.
And this one took a while, but I'm glad that I'm finally sort of getting to a stage now where I'm comfortable walking around everywhere.
There were so many things that you had to come to terms with after the accident at Donnington Park, and one of them was the fact that almost overnight you were thrown into a media spotlight. Okay, you've been involved with the media because you were a racing driver and you were competing at a very high level, and you had plans on getting to Formula One. We'll come to those plans in a couple of moments, but it was almost overnight that you had this overwhelming interest from not just the press here in the UK, but around the world. Yeah,
like I say, nearly 2 years ago now, but for me, yeah, it was such a weird situation to be in. Obviously, a lot of the media and stuff, I was obviously in an induced coma for 3 days, so that played a part in sort of me missing out in the first sort of burst of attention that we got. And then, yeah, from that point onwards, I've had to adjust to the fact that media is now sort of a big thing in my life, which it wasn't before.
Did it surprise you, Billy? When you woke up from 3 days after the accident, you're sort of almost bombarded with all these things that you've got to deal with, and everybody knows who you are. You're a household name in 3 days.
Yeah, for me, it was being in an induced coma was like going from a long sleep. As weird as it sounds, but yeah, it was such a weird situation to wake up and then to have all this attention and people knowing who you are and stuff like that, and it took a while to adjust to it properly, but yeah, now I'm quite comfortable now that the main thing is I know that everyone who was there for me was there. It was all support, it was all positive, it was never negative, which is for me incredible.
You have had the most amazing support. How much has that helped you on your journey of having to deal with the huge challenges that you've had, not just as a racing driver, but as a human being, as a person?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, without the support I had, obviously, since the accident, and then everything I've been doing, I don't think what I've achieved would have been possible. For sure, if I didn't have the support that I had, I might not have had the confidence to get back in the car for one. I think having the fact I had so many people around me supporting me at that time really played a big part in me getting back behind the wheel. And yeah, then obviously the guys at Carlin came on board through the fact that they now understood the story and stuff like that, and yeah, we managed to make it happen for this year.
You were lying in hospital recovering from a life-changing motorsport accident. I'm pretty sure that if it was me, I probably wouldn't want to see a racing car again for many, many years, but you were already planning on how you were going to mount your comeback, and that was as early as you lying in hospital, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, when I had my accident at Donnington, obviously all the team mechanics and engineers, all my friends and family, they all came up to see me in the hospital quite a lot, actually. I think the room limit was about, you meant to have 4 guests maximum, and I had a minimum of 4 all the time, so it was quite comforting really to have that sort of, that support and have that sort of social aspect of, rather than just sitting in a hospital bed on your own. And yeah, then it just, eventually when you've got a load of people that love motorsport in the same room, you end up talking about motorsport. And yeah, then it came on to racing, and Alex Zanardi's name popped up into the conversation, and I didn't really know too much about Alex before that point. It's sort of a different era to what I'm in at the minute. And yeah, it taught me a lot, and yeah, it just gave me sort of a bit of hope that everything might not be over yet.
I was there at Donnington that weekend. I was working, I was commentating. The following weekend, I was covering a meeting where Alex Zanardi was, and I know Alex pretty well. and I had a chat to him, and I talked to him about it. He knew very well about the accident he'd gone through. It was his plan to be in touch with you early on, and he was, wasn't he? It was quite an inspiration to you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, like I said, I didn't know Alex before the accident, but when I was in hospital, someone gave me his book, I read the book, and yeah, he's inspired me quite a lot, and just from the fact that it's something I can really relate to. It is what happened to him is pretty much identical to what happened to me. So if he can do these amazing things that he's gone on to do, why can I not do amazing things as well? So yeah, big inspiration.
Yeah, gold medal in Paralympics once, twice. It's just unbelievable what Alex has done, and he still races a car. He was at the Royal before the 24 last weekend, and he'll compete at Daytona. He's got a fantastic opportunity with BMW, but also he equally enjoys the opportunity that he's now got with his hat bike as well. So it's amazing how resilient the mind can be. Alex is a great example of that, and so too are you. The way you've turned this around, you were out in a Formula 3 car thanks to Carlin last year, and straight away from the outset, at the start of last season, you were on it.
Yeah, I mean, going back to for the Autumn Pump for the first round was obviously a very weird feeling for me, because most racing drivers are racing every year. They don't have sort of a season out. So then to get back in that race environment, it's obviously testing is one thing, but getting your racing and getting stuck in is another. So it was the first couple of laps, I was a bit like a rabbit in headlights, sort of didn't quite know how to handle it, but I gradually kind of built up to it, and yeah, it was by the end of that race, I knew exactly, it was filling the gap that I had, really.
How does the car work? How do the controls in the car work for you?
So I've got like a hand throttle on the left-hand side of the wheel, like a little paddle behind the steering wheel, and then I've got up and down gears on the right-hand side of the wheel, and then I brake with my right leg on a short prosthetic that allows me to brake properly. So
it's a different prosthetic to the one that you walk on?
Yeah, so it's a shorter one. When we would, obviously I had to talk with the FIA about safety, and they didn't want me to have like a long, hard prosthetic in the car, so we had to adapt it and make it a shorter length.
Do you have to sort of pivot to yourself? Because I know actor Hardy has to do that.
Yeah, fortunately for me, I've got my knee joint on my right side, so that makes things a lot easier in terms of the braking, in terms of the power doesn't come through. Yeah, everything like Alex does, I do it through purely operating my knee like I would have done before. So it's slightly different, but in some ways, I guess, yeah, it's quite relatable.
I'm sure everyone here and watching around the world on Autosport.com cannot begin to try and work out how we would deal with the kind of challenges that you've been up against. And it's also, ladies and gentlemen, about things that we don't think about. So we've mentioned Alex Hardy. I interviewed him a good few years ago now after a stint in a block pan race, and it was in the middle of summer, and he got out of the car. He's a lovely chap, and he's always very happy to do an interview afterwards. And during the interview I felt slightly guilty because he was sweating so profusely. The sweat was running into his eyes and it was stinging his eyes, and I could see that. So I sort of finished the interview a little bit early and then said, I'm so sorry, I realised that you're sweating a lot, so I stopped the interview early. And he said, and we would never think about this, why would you think about this? He sweats more now that he has no legs, because he has less surface area of skin for the sweat to come out through. I mean, it's little things like that, Billy, that we wouldn't even think about until you've actually got to deal with them.
Well, yeah, I didn't really discover that until probably a month after my accident, when I started coming out of hospital. Yeah, basically, I guess to put it into terms of for car racing, people will understand, it's like a radiator and putting blanking over the radiator to cover it up. You're going to get hotter. So yeah, I'm in the same situation as Alex. I always get hot, and then that's obviously going to affect me in the car in terms of the temperatures and stuff like that.
So you have to drink more?
Yeah, well, and I try to train where possible in hotter temperatures so that I can adjust myself to it. So it's just little things like that, like you say, you don't think about, that I've had to adapt to, and they're the things that I guess it takes longer to find out all these little tricks.
See, we only see the outside, the smiling Billy Monger appearing on Sports Personality of the Year, but the challenges have been huge. You've talked about the support and the love that you've had from fans around the world. Your family has been amazing. I'm going to pick on one member of your family in particular, your sister. Particularly at the time of the accident, was just an incredible human.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, me and my sister are like any other brother-sister. We're always arguing, always fighting. Yeah, she's always right, I'm always wrong. But yeah, obviously that weekend, I think my mum and my dad were, I think my mum more than it was probably didn't want to go and see me, but at the time they didn't know how bad my injuries were. And my mum never liked watching my racing anyway, like most mums don't. So my mum and dad were together and they asked if anyone wanted to go to the car. And yeah, Bonnie decided that she wanted to come and see me, and I'm so glad she did, because it was just so comforting to see a familiar face when everyone else around me. It was such a weird situation because I was sat in the car and obviously I knew the injuries were bad because I wasn't able to just jump out like I would have done from other crashes that I've had before. But yeah, just to have that familiar face around me when everyone else around me was a bit shocked. So you could see that on their faces. It was nice.
Yeah, of course. The people that were working with you that know about attending incidents, it was horrible for everybody involved. So for your sister to be that brave and that selfless to support her brother, it was amazing. Hopefully you didn't argue while that was going on. I do hope not. As I said, you went into Formula 3 last year. There was a return, quite an emotional return to Donnington Park, and the best answer that you could have had for returning to Donnington Park was to stick the car on pole position, and you did.
Yeah, that was, for me, that was really the highlight of the year. Like you say, going back to Donnington Park, not just for me, but I guess for my mum, my dad, my sister, and then everyone who supported me. It was quite it was, like I say, it was probably the perfect way that I could have gone back to the circuit and kind of put a line under everything that had happened in the best way possible, which is to get a good results and got podiums and obviously pole positions. It was a good weekend, and before the weekend I was quite worried about not really how I would handle it mentally, but how everyone else's sort of like mental state would affect me, because obviously there was a lot of people there who were there to support me, but I just kind of fed off of everyone, all that energy that was there for me, and the people that were there to support me, and it kind of, it just went from strength to strength really.
Your mate Jamie Caroline has been quite a source of strength for you as well.
Yeah, he's not been too bad, has he?
Yeah, he's been absolutely amazing, and he has been by your side right the way throughout the journey. Your friends from Motorsport wish you well, and wish you well in your onward journey in motorsport, which is what? What is it in 2019? What is it beyond?
So for me, obviously, like I've said from day one, I didn't come back to racing to just have a little go at it and then call it a day. I came back with the commitment of trying to make this my career. So F1 is still my dream. So for me, the plan next year is hopefully to do something in Europe, so do some form of European Formula 3 category. I'm not too sure which one yet. Obviously, I'm still in sort of limbo like everyone else, trying to find a sponsorship to make it happen. But yeah, no, I'm more than confident that I can go out after having a really good year this year to learn everything that I needed to know about the controls and everything, and improve it for next year. So hopefully we can go out there and fight for a title. That's the plan.
There's no particular reason why that dream of Formula 1 has to go away, is there?
No, for sure. I mean, I've proved that I'm capable of driving a single-seated car, and an F1 car is just a bit of a bigger and quicker version than that anyway. So yeah, hopefully bigger and better things soon.
What a lovely way of putting it. I will take you back just, I know you're busy, you've got to go off to the live action arena.
Gotta go have some fun.
Yeah, it's hard work, isn't it? You've had so far 3 days of driving your car in a slightly more hooligan fashion in the live action arena, haven't you?
Yeah, just a little bit. I mean, in single seaters you're taught to be ultra smooth and it's all about being precise, but So I've tested the car to its limits in that way, but I've never been able to test the car to its limits sideways, which is something that I'm really enjoying. Might have a bit of a career change.
It's absolutely brilliant. So you're going off to do that. I just want to touch upon something that happened, which is, I guess, a defining moment in your comeback after the accident, really, appearing on everybody's television screens at the end of last year on BBC Sports Personality of the Year. That was quite a moment for you, quite a moment for every one of us watching as well.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, I've watched Sports Personality as a kid before, and actually the year before last, I was able to attend it and watch Bradley Lowery's mum and dad pick up the award on his behalf, the Helen Morrison Award, and yeah, so to go back this year and just be there again was amazing. To see all these famous sport idols that I've looked up to for years, and yeah, so it was crazy just to be there and to go up on stage as well and have that moment was yeah, something I'll never forget. Mainly for the reason that I was so scared about going up on stage in front of 12,000 people.
To be honest, I think they're a bit scared of you because they came back to finish the interview, didn't they? Unbelievable. It was fantastic. Billy, your story is just incredible. It's incredibly inspiring. You are such an inspiration to all of us, and we wish you the very best of luck. And I, for one, would love to see you in a Formula One car. I think it will be astonishing to see. Ladies and gentlemen, Billy Monger.
Thank you.